Swarm of bees coming out of that hive right there. Alright, so today we got a swarm hanging on the plum tree, fresh out of the box. And we're going to try to wrangle them up. Alright, so I've got this plastic box with wooden frames in it. I'm going to put that underneath of them and then shake them down into the box. Not sure how well this is going to work, but we're going to try it anyway. Right about there. Here we go. All right, and then we're just going to close the lid. See, some of them are reassembling in the tree. That's all right. You can see a lot of them are forming on the box. I think they sense that the swarm is in there. Let's pop the lid open a little bit and see what we got going on. Oh yeah, lots of fanning. Telling everybody that we're right here. Come and join us. Okay, so I'm going to lower this lid, not push down too hard because I don't want to squish nobody. And there we go. Now, as far as these girls go, hopefully the queen is in the box and they will eventually determine that she's down there, and they'll fly down and join her. So we're just going to leave them right there for now and see what happens. Alright, so looks like they're figuring out the entrance. Let's have a look up here in the tree. Oh yeah, dramatically lower amount of bees. So I'm sure they're figuring out the queen is in the box. Pretty good sized swarm in there. I'd like to see if I could figure out where the queen is. And they're checking out some of the comb that's already in there. They're still trying to figure out if this is where they want to stay. I would like to convince them. Let's see if we can find Her Majesty. I'm not seeing her anywhere in here. They can be hard to spot, especially if they're a younger queen. We'll put it back together and just leave them alone for a bit. See if they can figure things out. And if we can find the queen later, we'll do so. Close this box up. The activity around this box has decreased. There's less bees in there than there was. I'm feeling like they might be returning to their original hive. Maybe, I don't know, there's some stormy looking clouds rolling in. Maybe they decided to call it a day and wait till tomorrow. Who knows? lot of fanning going on. Notice these bees right here on the front, they're doing a lot of fanning, throwing that pheromone out there. So I'm wondering if the queen returned back to the box. All right, it has been a few hours later. We're gonna see what's going on in here. Wow, nothing. Not a bee in there. So I'm pretty sure they went back to their hive. As you can see, the activity has decreased dramatically. So we're going to look through their hive and see if we can spot the queen bee. All right, this is inside the honey super. You can see there's a lot of bees in there. So I'm pretty sure that she's went back to here. So we're gonna look through these frames first. Okay, couldn't find the queen in that honey super. So now we're going to look around here in the brood box and see if we can locate anything. See, this frame right here is plumb full of honey. There's definitely too many bees in this box. I'm seeing queen cells right here, there. This is like trying to locate a needle in a haystack. And this is a really big, there she is right there. All right, I've got her in here. She's the only one in here. That is the queen bee. I'm going to put a little mark on her. Now, I mark my queens based on which hive they came out of, not which year they were born. Put a little white dot on her here. Okay, and then I'll let her walk around in there until it dries. All right, so now that I've got the white cap on her, I'm going to put a pink dot on her back. And that'll tell me that she's from this particular hive. Let me get her situated here. All right, there we go. Now you don't want to squish her, you just want to barely press on her. So now that I've located the queen, and you can tell that this hive is, I started to say tribe, this hive is far too packed with bees. So I'm going to manually swarm them. I'm going to put the queen into this box, and I'm going to put a bunch of workers with her and some frames with resources and brood on them, and that'll make her feel like that they have swarmed. Shake them down in here so we can see what we're dealing with here. This here really doesn't have that many resources or brood on it, so probably won't use that one. All right, this one here has swarm cells on it. So you see there's 3 swarm cells here. So we want this hive to make a new queen. We don't want to take these swarm cells out. So I'm going to leave this one in there, which is to be expected. All right, this frame here has a lot of honey on it, which is good. So I'm not even going to bother shaking this one because I don't want to shake the honey out. But what I am going to do is make sure there's no queen cells. And right there is a queen cell. going to check to see if, can't keep track of my hive tool for nothing. I want to check this queen cell and see if it's hatching. Looks like the larva that's in it has passed away, so we don't need that. Alright, this should be a good frame for him. Well, that one's full of honey. We'll leave that one there. Definitely need to decrease the numbers here. And I want you to look at this one. See all the queen cells on there? Just one right after the other. Here, here, there. I mean, there's 6 queen cells. And if all these ones here, which I think these are just drone brood, that's a good bit of queen cells. We're going to leave this one. This frame here has pollen and nectar in it, and some drone brood, and some capped honey right here. So this would be a decent one to put in there. Okay, so what I have here is a little screen piece that you can mash down on here and keep the queen isolated basically to a certain area, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to keep her on this frame inside the new box, and that way the chance of her leaving the box is very slim. And I'll give her a few days inside this cage, and then see if she is filling up to staying. She also has some workers in there with her that will be able to feed her and attend to all her needs. So there she is, walking around in there. She's got plenty of open cells that she can lay eggs while she's in the cage. There's also nectar in some of those cells. I don't know if you can see the nectar glistening in there or not, but the workers in there will be able to pull from those cells with the nectar and feed her and take care of her, and she'll do fine in there for a couple days. All right, instead of using 5 frames in this box, I'm leaving one out so that I have a wider gap to accommodate this screen that the queen's in. I'm just going to put that in here like so, and we're not going to butt it all the way up against this other frame, but we're going to get it pretty close, about like that, and then we'll bring this one up a little bit closer. And I think this is all the bees that I need in there with her. This should be enough, and we'll come back here in a couple days and check and see how things are going with them, and go from there. Okay, now back down in this hive. We've thinned out the bees a little bit, but they're still pretty crowded. So I'm just going to move some of this stuff around a little bit. I got to put this solid frame of honey back in here. And come about July, they might be paying the rent with that frame of honey right there, because that one is full. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some empty frames in here. Got an empty frame here. It's plastic. I've added beeswax to the plastic so that they won't see it as plastic. They'll see it as their natural beeswax, and they'll start drawing comb on it. And the plastic foundation just gives them a solid base that they can build on. It helps keep the comb from falling apart and whatnot, especially whenever you put it in a spinner and try to spin the honey out of it. Here I'm going to do the same thing. Beeswax frame, put it right here. So now they have two brand new frames that they can work with. I'll also come back a little bit later and give them a third empty frame, and that should do them just fine. But right now I don't have the frame with me, so we're just going to leave it open. And you don't want to wait too long whenever you do something like this, because they'll start building comb and wax and stuff and fill that hole up, and you don't want any kind of crazy stuff like that. So let's put this honey super back on. Try my hardest not to squish as many bees as possible. There we go. Okay, and this honey super, I'm trying to only do 9 frames. That gives them a little bit more width to make honey. So I'm just gonna separate these by a little bit. You don't want too much separation, because again, bees will fill any void that they have. So what you want to do is regulate the voids that they have. Sorry for the heavy breathing, guys. The microphone has to go in my veil when I'm working, so it's like right in front of my face, and it catches up all my breathing. And I'm a fat guy, so makes me breathe heavy. All right, I got a bunch of bees right in here that are looking for their hive that I had to move over here while I was working. So we're just going to put their hive back so that they can figure out where they live again. It's heavy too. This is a swarm actually that my daughter caught while I was away, and she's 15, so she did a really good job. Came out here and got them all by herself, and you can see now that the hive's back, they're all finding it and going right in it. All right, guys, we moved the queen and some bees out of this box and put them in this box. And as you can see, they're all around the entrance there. So we're just going to leave them for a couple days, and we'll come back and check on them. All right, so it's been a few days now, and we're going to get in here and release the queen and see how she's doing. It's kind of cool today, so the bees are kind of tucked in and not moving much today. By cool, I mean it's in the 50s. So they're still able to function at 50 degrees, but they're just staying in the hive and not really getting real crazy. There's the screen. And there's so many bees blocking it that I can't really see her. Let's put some of them back in the hive here. All right, you can see better there. Quite a few bees have gotten into that screen, so I'm not sure if she's gotten out or what. The bees have eaten the comb out around it. All right, let's remove this screen and see if locking her in has worked or if she has managed to get out of here. it appears that she's managed to get out. So that's okay, as long as she's still in the hive, we'll be good to go. Oh, wait a minute. Look what I see right there. I don't know if you guys can see her right here. She's crawling around. And see if we can wrangle her back to the hive here. All right, now I'm going to put a frame that has beeswax on it in there, and they can start filling that out and using it, and it'll fill up that space and they won't draw all kinds of crazy comb. All right, so I know the queen is right in here. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of knock her down in the hive so that I know she's in there. There she is. She went right down in the slot right there. So we'll get some of these other bees knocked down in here. There we go. All right, and they are good to go. Good shape. Now obviously they came out of this hive here, so we've got some stuff we got to do in here. Put this up here. Just for now. And if you remember, we left an open spot over here because we didn't have a frame to fill it. But I have brought another empty frame coated in beeswax, and I'm going to stick that down in there, and that'll give them some new space to work on. They're being pretty relaxed for a cold day. Usually they're kind of defensive whenever it's cool, from my experience, but not today. So we will just slide this on here, and I think that just about does it. This hive's going to do fine, and this hive's going to do fine. They're going to need more space though. This box is not adequate for this size swarm. Even though we swarmed them manually, it's too many bees in that box, so I'm gonna have to give them some more room. I'm waiting on some bee equipment to come before I can make some new boxes. This hive I've got over here, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, it actually has a bottom board for the roof right here, and that's all I have just to keep the rain off of them. It has an inner cover, and I've got screen on the inner cover so nothing can go in here and get into the hive. But for now, they're using a bottom board as a roof, and they're doing just fine with it. But we're gonna have to get them situated. So, all right, guys, that's it. I appreciate you watching to this point, and stick around, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and I'll be making more. See ya.